I want to call the December 16th, 2021 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting to order. Commissioner Wathen, would you lead us in a prayer and the pledge?
Yes. Dear God, our Father, thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed on this country. Please help all of the people that have suffered losses from last week's storms. Give them the strength and perseverance they need to get through these terrible times. Bless all the families of all of our employees. We ask that you keep us close to you, close enough that we may spend all of eternity with you. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner, and once again, I want to welcome everyone to our December 16th, 2021 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. For those who are watching on Facebook, if you have any questions or comments about any of the items that are on the agenda, if you would send those comments into Facebook, Jordan will get them to me, or you can call or text 270-929-1010. That's 270-929-1010, and we will try to get them answered. Also, at the end of the meeting, we always reserve a time for comment regarding anything other than what's on the agenda. We're on a delay, so it may take some time before we get it, but I promise if you text something in, we will answer it if it's appropriate. And if not, then I will try to get you an answer after the meeting. Jenny, are you ready?
Item 1, consideration for presentation. A, proclaim January 2022 as National Volunteer Blood Donor Month.
Commissioner Caslin, would you read the proclamation?
I will. Whereas blood donors are an integral part of Daviess County's healthcare system, and donating 1 unit of blood helps save as many as 3 lives. And whereas 20,129 blood components were delivered to 9 Western Kentucky medical facilities for transfusion over the last year, and whereas the Western Kentucky Regional Blood Center ensures the safety of the blood supply and successfully collects, processes, and delivers 100% of the life-saving blood products to Daviess County healthcare providers. And whereas Western Kentucky Regional Blood Center is a vital member of the Blood Emergency Readiness Coalition, which is comprised of 31 blood centers in over 30 states and is the nation's only safety net for emergency situations requiring immediate transfusion care. And whereas with Western Kentucky Regional Blood Center's membership and participation in such a vast life-saving network, the Blood Emergency Readiness Coalition stands ready to back our region's emergency needs at a moment's notice. Now, therefore, you, Judge Al Mattingly, do hereby proclaim January 2022 as National Volunteer Blood Donor Month. Furthermore, we recognize Western Kentucky Regional Blood Center's vital membership in the Blood Emergency Readiness Coalition and urge all citizens to acknowledge the importance of Western Kentucky Regional Blood Center and blood donors in supporting the healthcare and emergency preparedness in the Commonwealth and across the nation, and encourage healthy volunteers to donate blood. Presented in Daviess County, Kentucky, the 16th day of December 2022.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have the Chief Vampire in Residence at the Western Kentucky Regional Blood Center with us. Ms. Vicki Ellis, if you would come up and tell us a little bit about what you're doing, and particularly if you're able to help with the tornado victims in the western part of the state and how important it is.
I would love to. Good evening,
And
gentlemen.
remove your
Jenny.
mask.
I can? Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. I've been called a lot worse than the head chief vampire, but I'll take that today. We've had a very busy week, as you could imagine, and we can't do anything that we do at the Blood Center all the technology in the world without that volunteer blood donor. They are number one to our success. So the second thing is being ready ahead of time. We're thankful for the people that came and donated blood last week, because those people ensured that when that tornado hit, we had the blood on the shelf. So that's one of the reasons that National Volunteer Blood Donor Month is really important to our blood center and blood centers across the United States. It's that awareness and mindfulness and a reminder to donate blood. So with that being said, our status in the tornado, the Quad State tornado, we had zero communication, so we learned a lot about how we needed to communicate with each other in an emergency situation. And the hospitals that we supply, of course, they had their on-hand supply. We did backfill Caldwell County Hospital, and we did backfill an air evac helicopter. We were also contacted by the Department for Public Health, the state of Kentucky, for assistance in Bowling Green, and we did send products via state police to Bowling Green to assist there. The Burke activation that you mentioned in the proclamation, 17 patients were transferred out of Kentucky and into Tennessee, and Blood Assurance in Chattanooga actually activated Burke. So at that moment, 80 units of blood were sent immediately to Chattanooga. Just a little bit sad it wasn't us, but then thankful at the same time because that would have depleted our blood supply. So we stand ready, pleased to be a member of that organization. Should something tremendous hit here, it's good to know that we've got Big Brother behind us and we'll meet those needs.
Okay. Why don't you come forward, Charlie, if you would go down and present for me. We'll get a picture of you, and while we're doing that, I want to have you take our thanks back to your staff, and as you said, particularly to those folks who are giving the blood, because you certainly wouldn't have anything to do if they didn't. And I got to photobomb that, so that was pretty. I'm not telling you. So you're welcome to stay if you wish. I would advise against it. Okay, thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
B, Treasurer's Report for November 30, 2021.
Mr. Hendricks.
Cash balance at November 30th is $54,598,014. The general fund is $15,793,261. All the funds are operating within our expected tolerances, so I have nothing to add to the report.
Commissioners, any question or comment for the treasurer? There are none, requires no vote. A copy of this report is on file with the Daviess County Fiscal Clerk in our offices, second floor, 212 St. Anne. Next item.
Item 2, consideration for approval, A, minutes of the December 2nd, 2021 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Commissioners, you all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion approved.
I have a motion and a second. Again, Commissioners, you all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession. Any questions of the treasurer at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
C, county clerk's claim for preparing the 2021 tax bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
This is one of the methods that the clerk has to fund their office. They prepared 47,273 property tax bills at 30 cents each. So there's a bill of $14,181.90, of which we will pay half.
Questions or comments? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
D, Crime Stoppers Affiliation Agreement.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, in 2019, we stopped directly funding Crime Stoppers, but there is provision in KRS which allows the addition of $1 to each misdemeanor conviction that may then be rebated to Crime Stoppers to help, they pay for tips on crimes in the community. We passed that. There is a provision in the resolution that says that the Crime Stoppers, Inc. shall provide fiscal court with a report no later than June 30th of each year. I don't know if the circuit court clerk, who has a responsibility of collecting it, has been collecting that money, and I can tell you I've not been able to find a report. So I'm going to suggest that we pass this, but it be subject to that report being delivered to us so we'll know what's going on with the money. I don't know that we have to amend it, but it requires my signature, Claude, and I just won't sign it until I get the report.
I'm like looking, Judge, I think it does require, so it's just a matter of enforcing.
Yes. Yeah.
Best I remember, I'll go back and look again, but I think it requires that they provide us with a report.
It does on page 3 of 4 at the very top. It talks about they have to provide us that report, and I'm sure that they're doing everything properly. It's just that it's in the resolution, and we need to hold everybody's feet to the fire. So, yes,
What will happen, let's just say that we don't get a report,
I won't sign this one.
because they can't collect it unless we pass
They
this,
can't
is that
collect
correct?
it unless I sign this unless I sign this agreement. That's correct.
The clerk, I sent her a message, earlier this afternoon, she said she would give me a report on what.
Okay, so we're-
Let me assure everybody, I think it's just an oversight, and everything is fine. But as I said, it's in the agreement, and we need to make sure that the agreement is lived up to.
And I think the Crime Stoppers actually are supposed to provide a report.
That is correct,
This is
not
the
the
money
clerk.
we received, this
Yes.
is how we use it.
That's correct, not the clerk. I was just trying to contact the clerk to see if she'd even been collecting.
Right.
So, anyway, with that provision, any other comment or question? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
E, apply for the fiscal year 22-23 Kentucky Ambulance Block Grant Program.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion second. Commissioners, this is something that we've done annually. It's a grant of $10,000. It's paid directly to AMR, the ambulance provider. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
F, apply for a firefighter equipment grant for $308,000 with a 10% county match.
Move to approve?
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, this is another grant that must be applied for by December 17th, 2021. So I hope that Chief Smith and his staff are working feverishly to get everything done. The grant is for roughly $300,000. I think you all received a copy of what the monies would be spent for. Mainly a couple of firefighting pieces of equipment and some AEDs, automatic electronic defibrillators. The court's portion would be 10% or roughly $30,000. Any question or comment? I have I didn't print this off for you guys, but I'll leave it up here. If anybody wants to read about it, they're welcome to look at it. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
G, hold harmless agreements with the following regarding Yellow Creek Park underwater disc retrieval: Daniel Shain, Mark Carter, Jared Bean, Cody Bean.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, these hold harmless agreements keep the court from being responsible for any accident that the divers might have, any entanglement that might occur. They will be diving in Yellow Creek Park's lake, and of all things, will be looking to retrieve disc golf apparati. All of that information, yes, Claude,
And any other thing that.
and anything else of interest in there. There could be some German gold at the bottom of that
Some
lake.
what?
German gold.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, if the materials can be clearly identified, I think it'll be returned to the owner. And if not, it will become a possession of Daviess County Fiscal Court, and we will auction the materials off at our next auction. Any question or comment? Don't ask me about the German gold. Ask Jordan.
I'm just curious, how many,
I have no
when we
idea.
speak of disc golf,
Yes.
Well,
I thought they were frisbees.
They were what? They
Frisbees.
are, but they're
They're
George, tell them.
they are a super duper Frisbee.
Yes.
They're balanced and, you know, they got certain dimensions
And
and
they're heavy and they're gonna sink then? That's the part I found
and they
odd.
throw them across the pond to one of the, whatever you
Yeah,
call
there's a
it.
water hazard to.
Yeah, and so they just, you know, it's like playing golf and it goes in the water.
Yeah, that's
they
that's
throw
one
the
reason I
frisbee
don't
and they
play
didn't
golf.
get-
So I don't play this either, so.
So it's a,
That's what I always said about shooting sporting clays. I've never lost a shotgun, although I did see a guy get so mad he threw a shotgun in the pond. But that's another story. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Jordan Rowe, after that discussion, do you have anybody commenting? Good.
I do have one other comment.
Okay,
They're probably not worth all of this
probably not, but,
commotion, but we'll see.
yep. All right. Next item, Jenny.
H, award bid number 39, 2021, Landfill Administration Office Renovation.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Thank God, Jordan, you get to explain this one.
Yes, Judge, this bid is for the renovation of the original portion of the Landfill Administration Office to replace the HVAC system and address issues with water-damaged areas. The bid options in the order presented on your report are for the additional cost of a heat pump system in lieu of a 10 kW electric heat, the additional cost for a heat pump hybrid heat system, and the additional cost for new refrigerant lines on both the first floor and second floor. We received two bids ranging from a total bid price of $77,300 to $78,058 and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid submitted by QNS Enterprises LLC, exercising all bid options in the total amount of $77,300. There were no exceptions to our bid specifications, and I would recommend approval.
Question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
I, declare as surplus miscellaneous obsolete voting machines.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Jordan?
Yes, this is to declare surplus the old voting machines that were replaced in our voting system bid that we conducted this year. Once declared surplus, we will dispose of these items in accordance with our administrative code and respective statutes. I would recommend approval.
Question or comment? Jordan, I assume all the information will be wiped clean?
Yes, sir.
And at one time, we had talked about donating these to the school systems in order for them to show the kids how voting and all that works. What happened to that idea?
Since there's significant cost to getting these operable, even for a mock election, there was no interest in taking them.
Okay. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
J, surety bond releases for Woodland Ridge subdivision, units 2 and 3 sidewalks, and units 6 and 7 maintenance.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Brasher.
Yes, Judge. The developer of Woodland Ridge subdivision has asked for release of these sureties. My office has inspected this public improvement, and I do recommend approval.
Nothing left to do in those sections?
That is correct.
Okay. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
K, accept the retirement resignation of solid waste heavy equipment operator Steve Ford effective December 31, 2021.
Motion approved.
Second?
I have a motion second. Commissioners, as you're all aware, I think this past Friday was Mr. Ford's last day. Steve was here when all of us were elected. Did an excellent job as a heavy equipment operator at solid waste. It's unusual that you will have an employee for 27 years. So on behalf of all of Fiscal Court, all the citizens of Daviess County, we want to say thank you, Steve, and hope you enjoy your retirement. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
L, hire Eric Smith as landfill mechanic effective December 20, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion second. Mark, is this a replacement?
That is correct. It was a vacant
I'm
position.
sorry?
It was a vacant position.
Okay, so it is a replacement. No, we're not adding anyone. Any question or comment, commissioners? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Where did Eric work for us once before?
He did.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Thank you. Next item, Jenny.
M, promote Carrie Boone to landfill solid waste heavy equipment operator effective December 20, 2021.
Move to approve. Second?
I have a motion and second. Carrie worked at the landfill, I think, and is taking over since Steve Ford has retired, just moving him up. Congratulations on the promotion, and I assume, Mark, you'll be bringing us a replacement. I'm sorry, David, you'll be bringing us a replacement, okay? Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. Consideration for approval of contract with Weaver Consultants Group for the preliminary design of the residual landfill.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Mr. Smith, you want to tell us why it was necessary for us to move this into other business?
Yes, sir. We have had discussions recently about this project. We have about 7 years left of estimated airspace. Just in the last week, we found out there could be some major demolition projects in the community that will take 1 year off of it. And then, quite honestly, after the events of this last weekend, it made us realize that we could have a natural disaster here that fills up that landfill extremely fast. And so we will not have another meeting for another month, and so we decided to put that on the agenda so that they could start. This is just the preliminary drawings and meetings with Frankfurt. We will be permitting an entirely new area. We have run out of permitted space at our current CD&D and residual. So we will have to go to another area of the landfill and get it permitted. This is going to require geotechnical work. The state has to approve. We're going to have public hearings. It's a long, drawn-out process that our consultants say could take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So since we're already on a tight time frame, as I mentioned, we're looking at 7 years under current usage. These 3 projects that could be major demolition projects will cut a year off, so now we're looking at 6 years of life. And we've got a 3 to 5 year time frame to construct. So we think that's cutting it a little close. And we just thought to go on and put it on the agenda for this meeting as opposed to waiting a month so they can go on and start their preliminary work over the next 3 weeks.
David, CD&D materials that go into that portion of landfill, it's less expensive
Yes.
than the contained.
We've had discussions, and you all are all aware, there's no private company who owns a landfill in Kentucky who actually keeps a CD&D landfill as well, because if you're in business to make a lot of money, you don't want a cheaper CD&D alternative. You want everything going in to the contained landfill. I think this court wants to make sure we have low-cost options for our citizens and for our local industry, and so I think this court has decided they want to pursue building another CD&D to give that option to the public.
Okay. Questions or comments?
I saw the map that you attached to the letter from the I guess it'd be the contract once the judge signs it. What's the total acreage of this that we're
That's
going to
part of what
permit?
this preliminary investigation will be, because there's guidelines as to how far you have to be away from property line boundaries. There's actually a power line that runs through that area. But the estimate is somewhere between 30 and 40 acres, which is about the size that we have now. We estimated it'll last 20-plus years.
And that was my next question, is how long? So, okay, thank you.
Any other question or comment? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
B, public comments.
This is a time in a meeting where we would normally invite the public up. They're welcome to speak on anything other than what is on the agenda. Do we have any public comment or questions? If anything comes in, let me know. Next item, Jenny.
C, comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
Commissioners, I'm going to go so I don't forget everything. First of all, I want to welcome everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, since we won't be back together until after the holidays. Secondly, I want everyone to know that our thoughts and prayers go out to our sister counties in Western Kentucky. A horrible tornado. We all think back to 2000 when we had the tornado come through Owensboro and Davis County. And the destruction we had wasn't near what they have had, and we were very fortunate in that I think we had one person go to the hospital with injuries. There was no loss of life. To think of a tornado with a storm like this hitting in the middle of the night, and I suspect that if the storm that we had in 2000 had hit in the middle of the night, it would have been a different story. But there are many, many good people in all the Commonwealth and their surrounding sister states who are helping. Commissioner Wathen and I were talking earlier. I think that right now the best thing that anyone could do that wanted to help would be to send cash. They've got water, they have food, they have clothing, they have more assets, those types of assets than they know what to do with. What they lack is cash. That would be number one. Number two, if you want to volunteer, don't just show up in the town or in the county. One of the problems that we've had here before, and I know in other places, is more volunteers we know what to do with. They get in the way, there's nobody supervising. Call that county. If you want to volunteer and you're going to take a crew down, call Andy Ball with EMA, and he can get you in touch with the right people. Speaking of EMA, the minute the tornado hit, that very next morning, our EMA was working with all the other emergency management folks in Western Kentucky, trying to send people to search and rescue people. We had search and rescue people there. We had people to remove debris. The Davis County Sheriff, the Davis County Fire Department, Owensboro Police Department, Owensboro Fire Department, all went down, sent crews down. We had GIS people down there. We had people, Billy Higdon from the Davis County Water District sent 2 big generators, 225 kW generators down. Davis County Fiscal Court sent our own Jordan Rowe down to act as a public information officer in Dawson Springs for a couple days. Jordan, thank you for going down and doing that. All the counties, whatever's been asked, there's been no refusal. They've all stepped up and done what needed to be done to help our sister counties and our cities out. So we want all those folks to remember, or to know that we are remembering them in our prayers, and you know, if they need anything, let us know. Mark, real quick, I know I didn't ask you, so your brain is not functioning properly. I know that I had sent out a list of roads, additional roads that we're talking about, and I got a consensus from the commissioners. We need to move forward. I think we're going to, how many miles of total roads, extra roads are we going to pave, and do you have a list of who's going to get it? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, with that additional $500,000, that'll pave approximately 6.8 additional miles. If you would like me to read the list. Our intention is to pave approximately a mile on Kelly Cemetery Road. That is the section that's North Chestnut Grove Road. West Harmons Ferry Road, that's about 3 miles. We're going to go from the county line to US 431. And in the West District, we're looking at paving all the streets in Covington Ridge subdivision, Roman Meadows subdivision, all the streets in that subdivision, and then Lonesome Pine Trail from Kentucky 15, or from Kentucky 554 to Kentucky 815. That is our trash truck route. And that's approximately 3 miles on Lonesome Pine Trail.
Commissioners, that's going to require a budget amendment. Mark, if you'll prepare everything necessary, get it to the treasurer, and he will prepare the budget amendment. That's a perfect segue into my next announcement. This week, the treasurer has notified the court, specifically the judge executive, and I don't know if he's talked to the rest of you, of his intention to retire at the end of 2022. I just want to say personally, I'm glad he was here during my tenure. I was hoping that he was going to hang around, Charlie, so he could suffer all the slings and arrows of the beginning of the next administration, but I guess he's not. Jim, personally, thank you. You've done a great job, and I'll have more to say about that next December. So with that, Commissioner Coder.
Judge, you did a great job. You kind of took some of my words. The only thing I'd like to add to that is to continue going to Panther Creek Park with our lights. I think our numbers are down a little bit from this time last year. I'd like to see those increase because those nonprofit organizations could sure use the money. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think Commissioner Wathen is going to give us a little report. Commissioner Wathen.
Yeah, I do have. Right now to date, we've had almost 3,000 cars go through, and that's $5 a car, so it's almost $15,000. That, just for the record, that's about half of what we did last year. However, if you compare it to 18 and 19, we're way ahead of them. So I think last year, for whatever reason, it was twice as many as we've ever had. So it's been a good year so far. Hope everybody can cram everybody. They can get in a car and go out and see the lights. You can't beat that deal, $5 a car.
That's pretty cool.
And then last thing is, hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
Okay. Is that it? Commissioner Caslen, don't say you have no report. At the least, you can tell us about that grandson.
Well, I want to start by wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. To your point, you said of all the tornado things, certainly, I know the Kentucky EMA, they had asked that we pass that word that money's the best thing anybody can do right now so that they don't have to worry about finding places to put what people are sending because some of these places don't have any place to store it. The other thing that was on that list, though, was donate blood, and that segues well with our proclamation we had tonight. I do want to thank everybody. I posted on the night after our meeting, I posted on Facebook about my grandson. He was born 10 weeks early, and he's still in the NICU unit at the hospital. They're taking good care of him. Yesterday, he was at all-time high record weight, 2 pounds, 15 ounces, but my daughter reported today that he's actually lost 7 ounces. So for all those who have promised to pray for my daughter and her husband and the child, I thank you and ask you to keep it up.
Let's not forget Maddie. Tell us how Maddie's doing. Is this her second Christmas?
This will be her second Christmas. And Maddie, she's oblivious, I think, other than her mama showing her pictures of her little brother because he hadn't come home yet. So she hasn't had to share yet. She hasn't.
And you know, to not to get away from that, but to go back to the tornado, I just want to talk about Commissioner Wathen and I was talking about your daughter, Mary, and what some folks were doing, and we don't think about just the normal everyday things that people are missing, but Mary and a bunch of friends got together and are doing washing. Laundry for folks who were in that tornado, because they don't have water, they don't have electricity, they don't have anything, and so Mary, thank you. Now, I don't want to leave anybody else, and I want to thank everybody else that's doing anything that they can too, but I saw that on Facebook, and I go, I'd have never thought about that, George.
Well, Judge, I spent about a half hour on the phone with Jordan, Jacob Mulligan, that used
Oh,
to be
yes,
with the Messenger
yeah.
Inquirer. He used to cover us
Right.
here at Fiscal Court. And just asked how he was doing, and his grandfather, his grandfather's 91, so he's there helping him. And they suffered some damage to their home. They're able to live in it. They don't have any power yet. But he mentioned, just as we experienced here, the outpouring of support from people that you don't even know, that they know their neighbors in need, and they show up and they offer things, and it's been quite remarkable.
Well, in the words of Tiny Tim, God bless us, everyone.
Amen.
If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.